What's up, Grace Girls? Welcome to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast, where we focus on helping Black women change their lives by discarding negative thoughts, pivoting in the right direction, and shifting their mindset through cultivating a trauma free lifestyle. I'm your host, Courtney Christten, educator, content creator, life coach, counselor, and mental health enthusiast living in Houston, Texas. I created the Allow Yourself Grace podcast because I wanted to create a space for Black women to share their thoughts, feelings, and stories that make them who they are without fear of judgment. Allow Yourself Grace provides emotional support and encouragement within the Grace Girls community for women in need of non biased opinions from women other than family and friends. Personal development, self care, career, faith are among many of the topics we will discuss on this platform. Allow Yourself Grace podcast is here to encourage Black women to live unapologetically and thrive in being authentically who they are and were designed to be an entire vibe. No topics are off limits. We will cover it all. Now, grab a notebook, pen, sit back, and enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. Y'all, it took everything in me to be here today. So, because y'all know my goal is consistency, right? So, I'm going to tell you. I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna be real with you. This is one of those episodes where I prayed before I came on here today, and I know that I've been coming on looking pretty put together. So if I don't look as put together today, it's because like y'all, I literally just showed up because I'm like, man, I gotta record an episode. So God gave me this in the midst of my preparing because one of my main goals has been to be consistent. Being consistent has been a struggle. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it's literally been the hardest thing I've ever had to do because I realized something. It's something I've never done. And I'm just being real with you. I'm being real with myself. And I know that may be hard to believe because you see me show up on this platform, you see me posting, you see the studio being ran, like all the things are being done and it looks good from the outside looking in, but really it's a struggle for me. And so I say all that to say, like, guys, sometimes we're on the outside looking in at people and we don't realize that they are struggling. Like they are struggling. It looks good, but you don't realize what they have to go through to get what they have to get done or to make it look like it's going good. So don't ever count yourself out on the fact that you feel like everybody's doing great or they look like they're doing great because they could really, really be struggling. And, we are moving through 2025 and I mean, we are already about to be in June. We're at the end of May, about to be in June, and man, it's going so fast. And so you have to remind yourself of why you started, why you wanted to set those goals at the beginning of the year. Because if you don't, baby, you are going to struggle. And you're still going to struggle. But the important part is that you constantly remind yourself and you continue to push through and you continue to show up. So, with that being said, the title of today's episode is Trying Something New, the Shift That Changed Everything. Whew, y'all, sometimes all we have to do is try something new. Thank you guys. Those of you who have been listening, have been downloading the episodes, you have been tuning in, you started following the Instagram, you've done all the things. Y'all, I really, really appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart. Y'all don't realize how much y'all support means to me. Like, it is literally what keeps me going. So thank you so much. I run into people quite often and they tell me, "Oh, I listen to your podcast. Oh, I seen your podcast. Oh, y'all, I appreciate that. Y'all don't know how much I need that. Like, I need that because every day I encourage other people to show up on their platform. And so sometimes it makes me limited on energy because I have to show up on mine as well. So thank you guys for that. I appreciate that. Today's episode is real personal. Um, it's going to dive into what happens when you finally say yes to something new. This season of my life is stretching me, guys. It is stretching me. I'm learning to give myself grace during this process. And, when God gave me this podcast, the name for this podcast, I was like, wow, because I realized that over the years I had been so hard on myself. Like, I would set goals, I would achieve them, and I wouldn't even celebrate them. And I've talked about this on another episode and plenty of other times on this platform. I wouldn't celebrate them. I would just set the next goal. And I wouldn't take time to stop and be in the moment and just thank God for his grace, and not only thank him for his grace, but learn how to give myself that same grace. Today's quote for this episode is: growth begins where comfort ends. I realize fear and embrace faith. I am safe to try, safe to grow, and safe to become. When we develop that feeling of safety, it makes it so much easier for us to continue our goals, to continue to push through because we feel safe. We feel like we have a space to do so. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I have the space to be creative. I have the space to grow. I have the space to get uncomfortable. God has positioned me to be able to do that in this moment, y'all. And I feel so free. I feel like a heavy weight has been lifted off of my shoulder. And so I want you to say today's affirmation with me: I release fear and embrace faith. I am safe to try, safe to grow, and safe to become, because it's what God wants us to do. It's what He called us to do. He has created that safety net for us. And He wants you to trust Him. He wants you to trust that you are safe to grow, you are safe to become, because we're all becoming. The shift that changed everything. So let's talk about it. I was an educator for a number of years. Many of you know, some of you may not know, but I was a teacher. So I was a teacher for, I guess, about 8 years, maybe longer. And I am so thankful for that journey because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't go through that journey. Like, I wouldn't be able to show up on this platform if that wasn't a part of my journey. And so during that time, I embraced it. I loved it. But towards the end, it was like, okay, it's time to try something new. It's time to step out on faith. And when I realized my strong point in education, it wasn't to be teacher of the year. It wasn't to be a educational director. It wasn't any of that. My calling was building relationships. And so I identified that immediately. I identified my purpose because time and time again I would have kids go off to high school and they would come back to visit me. And if anybody is an educator out there, you know that is the most rewarding thing you could ever have a student do is come back to see you and come back to say thank you and come back just to say hi. Like kids don't do that unless they like you, right? Unless you poured something into them, unless you left a mark on their lives. And I am so grateful for that because I run into kids all the time now that some of them are adults. Some of them follow me on Instagram. Shout out to y'all, all my old students. And it's just so amazing to see them grow and thrive and know that you left a mark on their lives that they will never forget. And I love that. Like it brings my heart so much joy. So on my birthday, because y'all know I just celebrated my birthday this month, I get up. My husband's like, okay, we're going to brunch. We're going to go to, just hang out for the day. So the first stop I get to, I get seated. We're sitting down, I'm looking around. I'm about to order. And this young lady, she comes across and she works there. And she's like, hey, miss, I don't know if you remember me, but you were my teacher. Y'all, my heart just started beating so fast and my mind started to go back because I'm looking at her face and I'm like, I don't remember your name, but I remember you. I said you were very athletic. You were just a very sweet kid, always helpful in the classroom and stuff like that. I said, I think I went to a couple of your games. And she said, oh yes, ma'am. She's like, I didn't think you were gonna remember me. She's like, it's so good to see you. And she hugged me and she was just so excited. And she's probably like 21 right now, and y'all, I had her when she was in 7th grade. Y'all, God is just so faithful. And I was just so in shock that she probably thought, like, what is wrong with her? But I was just like, my heart just felt so much joy. And I tried to get her attention when I was leaving, but she was busy. And so now I'm like, okay, I want to go back over there so I can see her and really just talk to her because God keeps bringing her to me. Like he keeps bringing her to me. So I said, I'm going to make my way back over there because when I asked her what she was doing, I said, hey, so what are you up to now? Like, what's going on? She's like, oh, just living life. So, but you can tell she wanted to say more. But again, I was there with my husband and stuff like that. So I said, God, I know you have me on the right track, but just lead and guide me to where you want me to be and what you want me to do. And so my goal is to go back and pour into her. But just, I say all that to say, just to know, like, sometimes God puts you in places so that you're able to identify your purpose, you're able to recognize your calling, and you'll know when it's time to walk in it, when it's time to do something new so that you can touch the people that you need to touch because not everybody can touch them. Okay? It's your journey, it's your calling. And I just love that. It makes my heart happy. I think that's why I can't fully let it go. Like I still do, you know, uh counseling for students from time to time, and God is just so amazing, and he always keeps his promises, and just being able to see kids that I've poured into and they haven't forgotten me is just, oh my God, it makes my heart so happy. And that's what I want. I don't care about being teacher of the year. Like at that time, I never cared about that. I just cared about being able to be that person for students. Um, so yeah, when I decided to pivot. So let's talk about when I decided to pivot. So I left the classroom. I decided like, hey, I want to build relationships with kids. I want to spend more time having those relationships. Like I don't really want to focus so much on the academics. I want to focus on the social and emotional piece that students miss, that teachers miss, because they're focused on trying to make sure they learn the curriculum. And so I wanted to step out of that and work on, okay, how can we help students have healthy emotions and be able to function in the classroom? Because the hardest thing for anyone, but kids in general, the hardest thing for them to do is to show up every day in that classroom and perform at a high level when they're going through some real adult ass ish at home. And sometimes teachers don't have time to recognize that. They don't have time to really just connect with students and pour into them. Or I'm going to say some of them don't make time to do that because it's a lot of pressure being a teacher. And there's so much that you have to do, and there's so much that you're accountable for. And sometimes you don't have time to really just cultivate relationships with students. And so I wanted to do that. I know that's what God was calling me to do. And so I went, which I already have my master's in counseling. So I went and I took the test to be a certified school counselor. And so I did that. I started off doing it with high school students, which was amazing. And then I always said ever since I was a teacher that I would never teach elementary. I would never go to elementary. I don't like elementary. I would never go. I don't ew, because I was in junior high so long, I was in middle school so long. But y'all, being an elementary counselor was like one of the most rewarding things. Like, they are so amazing. They're amazing. They are just at the age where you can still mold them. So I realize now why God had me in that place. And I want to say it was the best 3 years I've ever spent just developing relationships with the whole entire school, with all the kids. Just amazing. And I got to pour into kids. I got to see things that other people didn't get to see. I got to go to houses and just see how kids were living. Like, there's so much that goes into shaping a kid. Like, sometimes we need to get to the root of the problem. And, I had the opportunity to experience that firsthand. And so now it's easy for me to relate to kids. Easy. It's so easy. I can do it like the back of my hand. And so I know my gift. I know my calling. And I just thank God that I tried something new, because I got and I still get to touch so many kids' lives and get to leave that impact on them. And I love that, because somebody has to do that job, and that is my calling. And I'm excited about it. And I want you to know that if you're in a space where you know you need to pivot, you know you need to try something new, do it, but do it with a purpose. Do it with intentionality. Don't do it out of anger. Don't do it out of, oh, I'm hurt, or, oh, I don't like it here. Like, do it because you know it's what God's calling you to do. And so sometimes before you pivot, you have to make sure that you consult God about the move that you're thinking about making. Because it's easy to act off of emotion. It's easy to change our minds off of how we feel. And we just have to stop operating in our feelings. And I know for women, that is the hardest thing for us sometimes, because we're just emotional creatures. That's how God made us. But ladies, I want you to stop and think. I want you to stop and really, really pray about it fast. Get a clear answer from God before you make the move, because moving prematurely can also hurt you in a number of ways. So you want to make sure that you're moving based off of what God has shown you and where you know He's leading you. And make sure that it's Him leading you. If you have fear about moving or pivoting, suppress that fear. Like, go with your gut. Go with what you know God showed you. Go with that. Like, because fear is always going to be there. And we've been talking about that since the beginning of the year. And fear is going to show up. It just is. I'm not going to tell you that it's not, because it is, but you have to suppress it and keep moving. So the moment that I felt like I needed to pivot was really when I started seeing, like, man, you're good at building relationships. Like, you're good at talking to people. You're good at connecting. And that's when I knew, like, hey, I got to get out of here and I got to do what I know I need to do, because I can reach more kids by pivoting. So, because as a teacher, when you're in your classroom, you're only reaching the kids that you're assigned. You don't get a chance to reach everybody. And sometimes I would still reach kids that weren't even in my class. Like, it was crazy. They would just come by, hey, miss. Like, that is what you want. And so if you are in education, or you're in any type of role where you get to impact kids, you get to impact adults, you get to build relationships, love that, walk in that, and captivate that, because people can see God through you. They can see your genuineness, they can see your authenticity. And that is what you want to do when you are walking in authority with God on your side and you're trying to be an example of what Christ is. Because we have to model that. We can't talk about it. We can't beat people over the head with the Bible. Like, we have to model that for people to be able to see I can live a life and not beat people over the head with the Bible. Like, I can live a Christian lifestyle and people can see Christ through me. That is what God called us to do, and that is what He wants. And I just love when people really figure out what their purpose is because it makes it so much easier for them to walk in their calling. Now, the key to this whole thing is trying something new doesn't require perfection, just permission. That permission has to come from you. You have to give yourself permission to try something new. It doesn't require you to be perfect because sometimes we feel like we got to have every single thing in place, and God is just saying, use what I've already gave you and I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to cultivate that thing. I'm going to give you the added tools that you need in order to be successful, but I need you to work with what you got. Period. Because it's easy for us to say what we don't got, what we don't have. It's easy. That's the easy thing to do. But let's work with what you do have. Because to me, thinking about what you don't have is just an excuse. It's just an excuse for you not to do something. And a lot of you guys and the whole world really, there's a ton of people who have a ton of excuses about why they can't do something when there's some things that you have in your hand and that you have access to that you can utilize just to get started. Like, just get started. God is just saying, get started and I will give you the rest. Don't worry about it. If my hand is on it, it's always going to work out. It's always going to work out. So I'm challenging you, my audience, whoever sees this clip, to try something new. Hmm, what might happen? Let's see. Because it's going to be something different from what you're used to. Because guess what? You're trying something new. Don't be afraid because God goes before you, He walks with you. There's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, today's scripture for this episode is coming from Isaiah 43 and 19. See, I am doing a new thing. And that is what He wants to do. He wants to do a new thing, but you have to prepare your mind for that. You have to open your heart for that. Talk about God doing a new work. You want Him to do a new work. Talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about the new thing that you want to come to pass. Speak it, manifest it, see it. Like, manifestation is real, but it doesn't mean anything if you're not going to talk about it and execute it. Like, believe it, speak it out loud, write it down. We talk about this all the time as well. Write the vision, make it plain, write it down. Write it down. There's so much stuff that I go back and I look at in my journal or my notes, and I'm like, man, all this stuff came to pass. So write it down. Write it down. And also, too, sometimes God shows you things in the moment and you want to write it down so that you remember because you can go back and reflect on it. You can go back and meditate on it. Those are the things that are going to help you keep stepping out, keep having faith that things are going to work out. All right. Let's take it back to trusting Him through the shift. Sometimes there's going to be a shift and it's going to feel like He's not there, right? It's going to feel like you've been left alone on a journey and you haven't. That's just a part of the journey, right? Trusting Him that, man, I know that right now it feels like I'm out here alone, but I know that you're here and I know that you're always going to come through for me. So that's part of having faith, right? Keep continuing to trust Him and know that he's right there, but he wants to see that, okay, he's going to trust me through the shift. She's going to trust me through the shift. I want her to have faith that I'm sitting right here. The teacher's always quiet during the test. He's testing you. So just know that even when you feel like he's not there, he's there. So those are the two things. We're going to talk to God and we're going to trust him through the shift. Okay. Now we're going to talk about results because we all want results. We all want results. These are the things that I felt once I stepped out on faith, and I know that you will too. So I felt like a renewed confidence. It's like now that I've taken the lead, that I am walking in my purpose, I feel like confident. I feel like I can do anything I put my mind to, anything that I take action to do. And one thing about God, he's going to give you the right tools, but also too, he's not going to lead you astray. Like he's not going to give you a vision or help you identify your purpose and then just like, okay, there you go. He's not going to do that. Like he's going to make sure that all the right pieces get put into place. And so now that I have the confidence, I'm like, okay, I'm just so creative and I'm just pouring out ideas and I'm executing ideas and I'm wrapping up things. And I'm like, okay, these are the deadlines. I got to finish this by this date. This is what's going to happen. This is what I'm doing. I'm helping my husband. I am, growing my business. Like there's a lot of things that I'm doing and I don't know. Like some of the stuff I've never done before, but God has given it to me and I'm just trying. I'm starting and he's finishing that thing. And I love it. Like literally, I had a couple of my friends. They're like, "I didn't know you were interested in that. I didn't know you knew how to do that." And I'm just like, "I didn't know I knew how to do it either." But I started, and God started giving it to me, and now I have it down. So even if it's something that you've never done before, like do your research, pray about it, keep practicing, because you'll look back and be like, "Man, I put in that work. Like now I'm the GOAT." But to become the GOAT, you gotta go through some things first. You gotta go through trial and error. You gotta bump your head a couple times. But eventually you're gonna come out winning and you're gonna come out perfecting that craft. And it takes time. It takes sacrifice. It takes hard work. But it comes along with it. If you want more, if you want something new, then you gotta do something different. Okay. The other thing that I got was emotional clarity. I'm so like emotionally intelligent, like emotionally clear. Like I remember when I used to just cry. I used to just feel so like a knot was in my chest. And now I'm like, what? I tell people all the time, I don't play with the devil. I don't got time to play with the devil. I'm not even scared of the devil. Cause what you gonna do? You don't got more power than my father. You don't got more power than God. I don't go playing with the devil. I don't go messing with him. And he know not to come over here and mess with me because I'm not about that life. And I swing and my daddy gonna get you. Okay? I don't play with the devil. So I became more emotionally clear. Got that clarity that I needed. And the next thing that I got was a door of open, the door was open for new opportunities. New opportunities came from everywhere. Like even when I didn't know how it was going to work out, even when I couldn't see, like, oh man, I can't see. Is it going to work out? I'm not sure. I'm sinking, but I'm still fighting. Like I got new opportunities knocking at my door and still knocking at my door. So that that's the benefits of just doing something different. The last thing was a deeper connection to my purpose. Like I dove deeper and I'm continuing to dive deeper to perfect that. So I'm loving that. And I want you to be able to do the same. Trying or becoming. And that's the real win. That's the real win. Okay. So the journal prompt that I want you to write down from this episode is, what's something I've been afraid to try, but feel called to explore? I want you to write it down. I want you to reflect on it. I want you to meditate on it. And I want you to begin to manifest it and speak it out loud. If you've been waiting for a sign to try again, this is it. You can be scared and still show up. Grace isn't just for healing, it's for becoming. Meditate on that. Write down your goals. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Try again. Even if you're scared, even if you've fallen, try again. Okay? Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. This was a touchy episode for me because I have the tendency to want to get into a routine, y'all. I'm just being fully transparent with y'all. And I'm like in this routine, and I'm like, man, no, I gotta try something new. Like, life is too short. Like, we can't keep worrying about what people are gonna say, what people think. Like, try something new and trust that God is gonna catch you if you fall. Okay. So next time we're gonna talk about the courage to keep going even when you feel like giving up, because that's a part of the journey. And so, what I need you guys to do is to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you're following me on all platforms, okay? Including Instagram. Where am I? So, I'm Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Make sure you're following me. I drop content weekly, and episodes premiere every Wednesday at 12 p.m. And yeah, I just thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I love you, love you, love you. And I will see you in the next episode. Peace.
Well, guys, that concludes our episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. For additional information about today's episode, please click the link in the show notes below. To learn more about our Grace Girls community and other resources we have to offer, head over to www.allowyourselfgrace.com. Until next time, Grace Girls, I love you all. Be blessed and continue to strive for success.